this.
Honorable Ministers, esteemed ambassadors, former judges, and distinguished members of the legal fraternity, a very good afternoon to all of you. Today marks a historic occasion as we gather here at Bharat Mandapam to witness the birth of a new chapter in India's legal journey, the inauguration of the Arbitration Bar of India. The Arbitration Bar of India aims to foster excellence, ethics, and diversity in the practice of arbitration, to provide a platform for dialogue and collaboration amongst its members and various stakeholders, and to contribute to the advancement of arbitration law and policy in India. It symbolizes our collective resolve to contribute to fostering a strong culture of dispute resolution in India, which will become the envy of our colleagues and contemporaries around the world. We are privileged to have with us some of the most eminent and distinguished personalities from the government, the judiciary, the diplomatic corps, the legal fraternity, who have graciously agreed to grace this occasion with their presence. I welcome you all to this momentous event and appreciate your commitment to join us in the commencement of this incredible journey. I'm extremely pleased to welcome our chief guest for today, Dr. S. Shankar, the Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Government of India, and Sri Ashwini Vaishnav, the Honorable Minister of Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Our guests of honor for today are Sri R. Venkatramani, the Learned Attorney General for India, and Patron-in-Chief ex officio of the Arbitration Bar of India, and Sri Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India, and the Ordinary President of the Arbitration Bar of India. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of, uh, of the Supreme Court and High Court judges who have graciously accepted our invitation and agreed to grace this occasion today with their presence. Thank you so much, everyone. A very warm welcome to all our distinguished guests, and we thank you to have graced this special occasion. To inaugurate this momentous ceremony, it is my distinct honor to invite Mr. Gaurav Banerjee, senior advocate whose steadfast leadership has been instrumental in bringing us to this moment. As you all are aware, Mr. Gaurav Banerjee is one of the most well recognized arbitration practitioners, both in India and globally, and he has represented India in several international fora over the years. Over the last decade itself, Mr. Banerjee has been pivotal in shaping several key developments in the Indian arbitration regime. A strong believer in the excellence and potential of the Indian bar, and as someone who's led by example, we could not have had a more suitable person to be the founding president of the Arbitration Bar of India. Please join your hands together and we welcome you, sir. Extend a warm round of applause to Mr. Banerjee. May I please request, sir, to grace your presence with that on the dais. May I invite you to deliver the opening remarks? Yes, please.
Respected Dr. Jayashankar, Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Government of India, Sri Ashwini Vaishnav, the Honorable Minister of Railways, Communications, Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, our very own Learned Attorney General for India, Mr. Venkatramani, Mr. Tushar Mehta, distinguished member of our bar, Solicitor General of India. We are very honored to have sitting judges from our Supreme Court and also the Delhi High Court, and so many distinguished guests, friends. Today is a historic day in the journey of arbitration in India. It's a day to celebrate for all us arbitration practitioners and to look forward to something special. We've been talking about the setting up of a dedicated arbitration bar for many years now. It has finally come to fruition, and it is due to the efforts of a number of people, many of whom are here both on and off the dais, and I would take maybe half an hour to name all of them, so I will uh, not do so at this stage. Not so very long ago, as you know, the practice of arbitration in India was a part-time activity to be conducted after court hours in a leisurely manner. We've all seen that. There were interminable hearings. Arbitral awards were rendered after years, sometimes even decades. And of course, the bar was also partly to blame for this. The world has moved on. We have also moved on. Nowadays, on a regular basis, I am approached by bright young lawyers who want to make arbitration a full time profession, a full time career. They seek advice, they seek guidance. And I believe the setting up of this arbitration bar of India will be a major step in that direction. Uh, may I say that the importance of a dedicated arbitration bar cannot be overstated. The efficiency of the dispute resolution process has a huge impact on the Indian economy and the global perception of doing business in India. In fact, Niti Aayog, in a paper published some years ago, had talked about certain steps through which intervention was required to improve the landscape of arbitration in India. And these are the steps they had suggested. The first was to strengthen the governance network. By that, it meant restructuring the legislative, executive, and judicial fronts. And there we have actually done very well. So far as the legislative and executive fronts are concerned, there has been a massive change in the last maybe 6 years, and the government of India has been extremely proactive. We've had, as you know, two substantial amendments, the 2015 and 2019 amendments, and the effect of that is there for us to see. Particularly, there was a provision where uh, arbitrations were made time bound. So it has had a major impact. The government has done its bit. It set up expert committees to review the provisions as well. Similarly, so far as the courts are concerned, there's been a sea change. Uh, from being perceived as obstructionist, the pendulum has swung in favor of supporting arbitration. Supreme Court has delivered a number of landmark judgments, though of course there have been a few controversial ones, but that is the nature of the process. The next step, of course, is infrastructure. There also we have advanced. We have set up the IIAC through an act of parliament. Uh, Justice Hemant Gupta, the chairman, is here. He's helped us a lot in setting this up. But most important, I feel, is human capital. And arbitration lawyers, we have to do our bit. And this is where the ABI comes in. And I must say this at the outset, having worked with the younger generation here and abroad, I have no hesitation in saying, and I've said this earlier, that our upcoming lawyers, both men and women, are supremely talented and can match up to the best in the world. They just need a little bit of support and a little bit of help. Now, one question which has been posed by many is India has so many arbitration centers, so many institutional centers. You have the IIAC, you have many others, IAMC, Hyderabad, MCIA, Nani Palkewala. So why should we have another body at all? And I think that's a valid question. But I think the answer is very simple. We are not another institution, we are a bar. We are the Arbitration Bar of India. We are a pan India organization where we are an association of individual arbitration practitioners, people who specialize in arbitration. We don't intend to take on the institutions, we want to complement them by providing them with human capital. And just to go a little further, what are the goals of this new ABI? One of the goals is to The main goal is to promote excellence through professionalism, ethics, and advocate for arbitration advancement both nationally and internationally. That's one goal. Another very major goal is diversity and equal opportunity in arbitration. And you see that it's a real problem here. In fact, we have taken the equality pledge. Our executive committee and office bearers have a significant representation of women. In fact, one of our thoughts was to have various pan India chapters, and we have a special women's chapter, and you will hear more about that soon. They will be doing something soon. The other aspect is there is a perception that arbitral appointments are few and far between, going only to a select few uh, individuals. But I know for a fact, we've seen this in action, Many younger members of the bar, when they are made arbitrators, they perform far beyond expectations. So one other goal of the ABI is to increase the pool of arbitrators, increase the pool of competent younger men and women who can take that on. Thirdly, we want to obviously establish a network for sharing insights, setting up standards. There's a lot of experience here in this room. I can see so many familiar faces. Individual members have so much experience. We need to share that with the next generation. We want to um, enhance practitioner expertise with training programs, research, dissemination of knowledge. And last but not least, and I'm looking to the days here, we want to influence policy reforms. We want to contribute. Each one of us has some ideas about how to make arbitration more cost effective, how to make it more expeditious. And I urge you to join so that at least we have a collective voice, and we're open to ideas to take this forward. And one other thing I want to mention is that this is not a Delhi based setup. We have a pan India scope. Our advisors are from Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Calcutta. Our executive committee has geographical and gender diversity. We are aiming to reach out to domestically to towns and cities which have not yet benefited from recent developments in arbitration. And you will find more details in the website, which will be launched shortly. Uh, I want to end by saying that I must acknowledge a huge debt of gratitude to the people who have helped us get here. We have been talking about this for the last 10 years. It's not happened. First and foremost, I want to thank the Attorney General. He has gone far above and beyond uh, his role. I mean, you cannot imagine the amount of interest he has taken, and we are extremely grateful for that. Uh, we thank our honorary president, Mr. Tushar Mehta, who has been of great help to us. And I'm sorry, I should not be taking name after name, so I'll stop at the third name. I would particularly like to thank our honorary president, Justice Hemant Gupta, who is the chairman of the IIC, who again has put in huge effort behind the scenes and is keeping a low profile, at least today, it seems. A lot of you have come from various cities. Thank you for attending, and thank you for um, the solidarity. I want to end by saying that arbitration is not an end in itself; it's a means to an end. Our success will be judged by the end user. If we are successful in bringing greater professionalism, it will be good for arbitration practitioners, it will be good for business, and it will be good for the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, may I request that you please announce the inauguration and the lighting of the lamp as well. So, for everyone present here, Mr. Banerjee will take the inauguration of the IBA forward. So, sir, I hand it over to you to announce the lighting of the lamp. Divyansha, can you just hand over the clicker, please? He's just,
The clicker.
uh, they're coming from
So,
the other side.
as technology progresses, we will have not a physical lighting of the lamp, but a virtual lighting of the lamp. So I will press on the clicker, and
Yes, sir. So, light on your lips.
so I'll press on the clicker. You see there are five there, so I will light the first one.
Thank you so much, everyone. With this, we inaugurate the Arbitration Bar of India. I would like to thank all of you again for joining us in commencement of this momentous day. May I also now invite the office bearers of the Arbitration Bar of India on the stage for for a group photo before we begin with the event. Shashank, may you please lead the way? And may I invite the executive committee, the office bearers, everyone on stage? So we have Mr. Banerjee, who is our founding president. He's joined by Mr. Tejas Karya, who's the vice president, and also Mr. Vyapak Desai, who's the vice president. I won't take all the names, but we have all the office bearers on stage, please. Thank you so much. That was a big crowd, so then apologies for not singling out the names again. Um, So, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I invite Sri Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India and Honorary President of the Arbitration Bar of India, on the dais, please. Sri Tushar Mehta is a learned solicitor and is a decorated Supreme Court lawyer. He was first appointed as the ASG in 2014, and since 2018, he's been acting as the Solicitor General of India. He's appeared in several landmark cases and advancing arguments for the Union of India. Over the course of his tenure, he's made immense contribution to the field of law, and it is our absolute honor to have him grace this occasion today. Please extend a warm welcome, everyone, to Learned Solicitor General. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Respected Dr. Jaishankar ji, Sri Ashwini Vaishnav ji, the learned Attorney General for India, Justice Rishikesh Roy, Justice Bindal Saab, Justice Rastogi Saab, Justice Gupta Saab, Gaurav, my dear friend, and many familiar faces. Thank you very much, Gaurav, for initiating a new beginning, not just by creating a new bar association, which was long overdue, but also for starting a new practice of a new lighting of lamp. It's with great pleasure and honor that I stand before you today on this historical occasion of inauguration of Arbitration Bar of India. Today is a monumental day for Indian lawyers. With the launch of this bar, the country has entered into an exciting era of a new legal regime. Friends, arbitration was not seen as a serious and full-time practice in India, at least since last several decades. And therefore, government also did not bother much with its development, and they let it run at snail's pace, with India's global reputation taking a very, very serious hit. However, since the government came into power in 2014, the present government, it took upon itself to develop India as a arbitration hub. From the revolutionary amendments made in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 in 2015 till the new amendments which came in 2019, the government has been consistent in its endeavor to promote the arbitration as a form of alternative dispute resolution. The government of India has provided consistent support in promoting India as an arbitration hub globally and locally, and those efforts are bearing fruit. Our Honorable Prime Minister, while addressing the valedictory function of National Initiative towards Strengthening Arbitration and Enforcement of India said, I quote, business seek assurance of the prevalence of rule of law in the Indian market. They need to be assured that the rule of game will not change overnight in an arbitrary fashion and that commercial disputes will be resolved efficiently. A robust legal framework backed by a vibrant arbitration culture is essential. I unquote. This has been the priority of this government, and each department of the government is working towards making arbitration an effective means of an alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Friends, there are many specialized bars all over the world, including American Bar Association's Dispute Resolution Section, Singapore Law Society Arbitration Scheme, International Bar Association, etc., which are aimed at tackling these unique challenges. We have not just drawn from these examples because arbitration we don't need to learn from any other country, because it is my firm belief that arbitration as a concept has its origin in India. And therefore, we have our own version of fraternity who are devoting themselves exclusively to this mode and method of alternative dispute resolution. I believe that this represents a pivotal step towards standardizing the elevating practice of arbitration across our nation. I hope that Arbitration Bar of India will cultivate a dedicated cadre of professionals who are not only expertly trained in the substantive and procedural dimensions of arbitration, but are also deeply committed to the principles of consistency, professionalism, and ethics. Friends, creating a bar association or creating an institution by itself is a difficult task, which is performed under the able leadership of my dear friend Mr. Gaurav Banerjee. But to take it forward and to ensure that we reach a stage where the bar association does not only help in getting the disputes resolved, but in ensuring and encouraging that India is a preferred seat of arbitration rather than just a venue of arbitration should be the real goal of all of us. Friends, as a lawyer representing the government is committed to this goal, and I'm sure this bar association would do everything possible to ensure that not only the venue but majority of the major international and domestic arbitrations are held in India, treating India to be the seat of arbitration. I thank the organizers to allow me to be present before all of you and to meet all of you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for those remarks. Thank you. It is with great pleasure that I invite our next speaker, Sri R. Venkatramani, the learned Attorney General for India and Patron in Chief ex officio of the Arbitration Bar of India. Sri Venkatramani is a decorated Indian constitutional lawyer and a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. He is currently serving as the 14th Attorney General for India. Prior to this, he was appointed as a member Law Commission of India in 2010 and 2013. He has appeared for the state of Tamil Nadu as a special senior counsel. More notably, he was invited to be involved in the Nepalese constitutional drafting and experience sharing exercise. He has authored several articles and books on varied topics such as land reforms, human rights, and constitutional law. We thank you, sir, for agreeing to act as our honorary president and invite you to kindly deliver the address today. A special round of applause for Mr. Venkatramani, please.
An extempore speech would have been more ideal on an occasion like this. One can speak from one's heart and the mind attuned together. But I thought sometimes something ceremonial about this. Maybe I should have a prepared speech. So, with your permission, and as I see the overflowing presence of my dear sisters and brothers at the bar and the packed audience, I have the first breath of satisfaction about the relevance and importance of today's initiative. Let me, with due elation, on behalf of dear brother Solicitor General Mr. Tushar Mehta, the organizing team, and myself, therefore, welcome Dr. S. Jaishankar, Honorable Minister for External Affairs, and Sri Ashwin Vaishnav, Honorable Minister for Railways, Communications, Electronics, and Information Technology, for being with us today and adding to our elation. I thank both the Honorable Minister for accepting our invitation and welcome them. I welcome them with the liberty of using a particular phrase. I welcome them as two good Samaritans who have, by accepting our invitation, set in motion the scope for and triggered hopes and expectations for a great confluence of government and private initiatives. I have the liberty of calling them Good Samaritans, not only the biblical tradition, but in the more contemporary sense of their combining reason and relevance with Make in India and Making India project. On behalf of the baby on our hands today, whose visible elan vital is a packed audience, and many more are waiting to with eager eyes and clapping hands, I welcome and thank the honorable ministers for being with here today with us, with the promise to be with our tomorrows. I consider their presence here as a MOU of a different kind, and both the honorable ministers know more about MOUs. I wish to announce that the final clearance by the government of the subject of Permanent Court of Arbitration seat in India very soon, and very soon we will see their uh, inauguration too. On behalf of all of you, I thank the esteemed Minister for External Affairs for clearing the decks. I welcome all the honorable sitting and retired judges of the Supreme Court and honorable Delhi High Court judges. Their presence is a matter of immense encouragement, supporting today's humble initiative. Many of them have been participants in shaping, one way or the other, India's arbitration journey. I also warmly welcome the ambassadors of several countries and embassies whose interest and goodwill can be matters of international goodwill and collaboration. I do welcome many heads of governments and departments of India, many of whom are great supporters of brave new words of arbitration, which India is poised to present in the world to the world in good times. When initiatives like this are undertaken, many questions are asked. This is like looking at the confluence of stars at the birth of a child to start a good horoscope and coining a good sounding name, an amiable name. In all our languages, we have this shortened version of traditional names. Thus is Abi, A-B-I, Abi, which conveys expedition, and just now, this moment, already, as also fearlessness and courage. Those of us who sat together to script a birthday for the association asked ourselves several questions. The idea of associations of people in the arbitration practice is not new. Sometime in the year 1998, few well-meaning judges and senior counsel envisioned the need for an association of practitioners. And this was on the heels of the birth of the Arbitration Act 1996, marking a complete departure from the 1940 Act. I understand this gathering over a period of decade did a remarkable job as the spirit of the times then bestowed. We have other enthusiastic private initiatives, such as the Indian Arbitration Forum, a welcome collection of arbitration practitioners. The Indian Council of Arbitration was established way back in 1965 as a specialized arbitral body and the initiative of the Government of India and FICCI. It has traveled long distances, like many such bodies elsewhere in Europe and US. The last decade has seen many more attempts and endeavors at institutional frameworks to lend importance to the idea of institutionalizing the arbitration world of India. The well-thought report of Justice B.N. Sri Krishna has led to and prompted the IAC legislation. Other initiatives in Delhi, Hyderabad, Bombay, etc., to provide articulations for institutionalizing have also added to the dialogue on what must be done. There are many dialogues and questions about the world of arbitration, both international and domestic. When we move away from adversarial litigation systems with all its ills and challenges, and to script a more admirable system, if I may call it, we necessarily enter into such debates by asking questions about the effectiveness of its delivery, its comfort elements, and to provide reasonably good answers. The collection of essays in honor of the legendary late Sri S. Nariman is interestingly titled International Arbitration and Rule of Law, suggesting deep connection between the rule of law and any system of dispute resolution. I'm not talking about the World Bank laid down rule of law principles, which may have some hegemonical connotations. As I can scan the discussions on arbitration issues, some such as expedition and effectiveness, they are issue common to global concerns and will continue to engage all of us. These are matters of refinements and quality assurances. However, when it comes to Indian arbitration scene, there are preachers from outside and explorers from inside. The intensity of our engagement in the debates also owes to the most urgent need to raise and elevate India's position and earning its undeniably due space in the global map of justice, dispensation, and the dispute resolution. The termination of colonialism did not end with mere physical disappearance of the colonizers. Ideologies, legal traditions, and economic and political controls continue to occupy the global scene. We still see layers of global hegemony and control. Not all global exchanges may fall into this domain. Some of these exchanges in the field of law, legal tradition, and constitutional borrowings, etc., have been beneficial and on which India has built its own superstructures. But when you're talking about initiatives such as this, I think you're talking about moving away from diffidence and doubts to self determination and domestic articulation. From diffidence and doubts to self domestic articulations. We are talking about the necessary entry of India into assertion of its own position as second to none and equal to all, and maybe more like a venerable leadership. There have been cynical eyes and disappointed minds as we began our journey both before and after the New York Convention and the UNCITRAL model, etc. We have sufficiently criticized our hesitations and slow motions in addressing the need for marching along with the rest of the international arbitration motions and practices. World trade dynamics, post GATT and WTO, are stories of direct, visible, and not so disguised control and dictations of developed countries, as they are called. Today, their development is on test in the scales of sustainability and equity. As India is about to unfold its maturity and wisdom on what should be a world of equity and equal regard, a world beyond Bronze and Stone Age hegemonies, we are also called upon to draw some broad blueprints for fair and dharmic dispute resolutions. We have in our basket of experiences many stories of bilateral, multilateral treaties, investment engagements, both internal and external, and the global experiences are a good harvest, not only for seminar contemplations, but for utilitarian ends and quick translation into schemes and practices. As I wish to pay tribute on this occasion to Sri S. Nariman, let me quote from what is said in the UNCITRAL South Asia Conference held in New Delhi in September 2023. I quote, "The practice of international commercial arbitration, prevalent for many decades now, and the practice of international investment arbitration, a more phenomena, continues on the questionable assumption that an international arbitral tribunal is hardly ever wrong. This is because of that supreme sense of complacency that pervades the international commercial arbitration and its myriad manifestations, including investment treaty arbitration as well as conciliation. This supreme sense of complacency got exemplified in a remark made in a pre-World War II years by a former Lord Chief Justice of England at a Lord Mayor's banquet given in his honor in London way back in the year 1936. Lord Chief Justice Hayward had said somewhat pompously, he says, His Majesty's judges are supremely satisfied with the almost universal admiration in which they are held. Substitute international arbitrators for His Majesty's judges, and you will get the current view of international arbitrations and arbitrations. I quote. He also quoted a story narrated to him by Professor William Park of Boston University, which goes on like this. There is a sign in the window of a shoe repair shop in downtown Boston. It's run by a Greek immigrant who is fed up with consumer complaints. So he puts up a sign in a triangle. At the top of the triangle, you have fast service. At the bottom of the triangle, you have low price and high quality. And understand, and underneath is all the all important question: pick any two, because all the three together, fast service, low price, and high quality, at the present moment are simply unattainable in international commercial arbitration and in international investment arbitration. I quote. Why do I quote all this? When we gather all the veritable literature on the international arbitration, from appointments of arbitrators to enforcement of awards, we can notice that people are looking at the opportunities that have been lost in the arbitration world. And we always work on comparisons with the adversarial litigation model. The domestic stories of the world of arbitration in India also revolve around more or less the same issues, except with the difference that we keep talking about running fast and catching up with the rest of the world. I suppose we should stop looking at some tiny pieces of defaults in our arbitration world and practices. If ethical considerations and trust and confidence ought to be nurtured, few major steps towards institutionalizing Indian arbitration world would just be good enough. Let us move towards making big moments of evolution happening. I go back to 1960 when the Bar Association of India was inaugurated in the presence of Honorable President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The Venerable and tall Attorney General for India, Sri Setalvat, observed that the objects of the Bar Association of India are broad-based and aim not only at the furtherance of the interests of the profession, but set before it the task of public and the national welfare in many directions. He said, I quote, when we launch ourselves upon new ventures, we often pride ourselves in the ancient ideals and achievements. But it is, I think, useful on occasions to set before us the recent record of other nations as an example, which we may follow with advantage to ourselves, and quote. He called attention to the growth and development of the American Bar Association, born in the summer of 1778, and looked at how it has grown from strength to strength, setting standards for the profession and the judiciary. He further asked this question: can we not in our country aspire to emulate this notable catalogue of outstanding work, spread over 3/4 of a century, of which any public body may well be proud? I understand we are talking about the notable catalogues of work to be done by the Arbitration Bar of India alongside IIAC and other initiatives to gather all the intellectual potential and the zeal and zest toward the common goal of arbitration excellence. We have examples of many dedicated specialty bar associations. We are the Indian Commercial and Arbitration Bar Association. The American Arbitration Association is almost a century old. We also have the Inter-Pacific Bar Association, business and commercial lawyers. Examples can be multiplied. I wish to add invigoration to today's endeavor by reminding us that many great beginnings have yielded many good dividends. I think having a dedicated bar will be enormously influential in the institutionalization of an arbitration world. We need to go beyond making mere business out of arbitration opportunities. Let me also put a quietus to few murmurs and doubts. This association will not and cannot be any exclusive men's club. All of us want our wonderful and accomplished sisters at the bar to be active office bearers and participants. There is a long list of accomplished names in the world of arbitration, many of whom I know so well as persons who matter for India's growth story and who will be invited to assume responsibilities. Those of us who have come forward to bear the costs and stresses of organizing this event are only foot soldiers and more as midwives. There are neither gates nor fences. I must acknowledge the value of the time and inputs given by Justice Hemant Gupta, who had taken over a new terrain of responsibility at the head of the IAC. I think many former judges here were not present here, like Justice P. N. Sri Krishna, the A.K. Sikri, and Justice Indu Malhotra, who wholeheartedly welcomed this initiative. I must acknowledge the invaluable contributions of Sri Gaurav Banerjee, senior advocate, Sri Tejas Karia, Sri Shashank Garg, and the team in planning this event, and many of my good friends in like Kunal Vajani, Nandini Kaitan, Shreyas Narashima, Ganesh Chandru, many of them, all of whom are prominent names who have wished this initiative with a splendid heart. Let me thank each and every one of you who are going to be part of an enriching journey ahead, particularly my young sisters at the bar. India needs all our collective and concerned efforts. And what good is the preamble to the Constitution, we the people of Bharat, if we are not that people? My humble namaskarams to all of you. The shrill voice of a newborn child will very soon become music to all our sounds. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to now welcome the chief guest of this momentous occasion, Sri Ashwini Vaishnav. Sri Ashwini Vaishnav is currently member of the Indian Parliament and is the Minister of Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Shri Vaishnav is a member representing the Orissa state. He's an ex-Indian Administrative Services officer turned entrepreneur and has donned various hats over the course of his career. My apologies. Amongst the many causes that Sri Vaishnav has supported, he has made very valid arguments in support of the taxation laws. He's spoken about the ship recycling bill, women protection in Rajya Sabha, and furthered the public discourse on those issues. The minister has been pivotal in furthering the belief that the way to build the country is to put the money in investment rather than in consumption. We are honored, sir, to have you here today. I welcome you to the dais. Everyone, please extend a warm welcome to Sir and kindly deliver his address. Thank you.
Thank you for a very long introduction. I'll be briefer than that. Honorable External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar ji, respected Attorney General of India Dr. Shri R. Venkatramani ji, respected Solicitor General of India Shri Tushar Mehta ji, Chairperson of India International Arbitration Center Shri Hemant Gupta ji, President Arbitration Bar of India Shri Gaurav Banerjee ji, distinguished members of the legal fraternity and esteemed guests. It's indeed a matter of immense pleasure and honor for me to share my thoughts and be with you in this company of very distinguished, very learned people. I'll talk about two perspectives and try to place today's function and the role of arbitration in the current context of our economy. We are today a significantly large economy compared to what we were, let's say, about 10 years ago. Today, in terms of Indian rupees, our economy is of the size of about 302 lakh crore, 302 trillion Indian rupees. In terms of US dollars, that is about 3.7 trillion US dollars. We are practically adding about 30 to 35 lakh crore rupees worth economic activity every year. That's really significant. Once we reach a level at which we are today, then the growth momentum has its own flywheel effect. And we can see in the coming years that the economic activity kind of feeds on itself and grows in a significantly bigger level, significantly higher level compared to what it was, let's say, 15, 20, 30 years ago. This is the context, and this is a context where we need to understand that the whole economy is at a very important inflection point. If you look at the economic history of many countries, and especially the countries which are more or less equivalent to our size in terms of population, in terms of size, geographic size, in terms of long history, about $3.5 trillion size of an economy is the point which becomes an inflection point in the economy. That's a point where the countries start thinking of new institutions, new talent requirement, new technologies, new systems to be brought in, new legal structures to be brought in. And we are also at this stage where we have to think a lot about what we have had so far and what do we need going forward. That's the point at which we stand today. And I'm so happy that one of the most important requirements for the commercial world, the role of arbitration, we have heard from the learned AG and learned SG Saab, how important it is for our entire journey. In this, at this critical point of time, we have started ABI, and as learned AG Saab said, Abhi. So we have started Abhi, और यही सही समय है, यही ठीक समय है to start this kind of activity. So good to be part of this journey, and thank you very much for inviting me here. I would like to say that this is at this point of time, many of our institutions and legal structures require a lot more reforms. We have seen one of the most important reform of independent India since independence, if you ask me, which has been the most important reform, that has been basically the reform in the criminal justice system. The three laws which were enacted recently by the parliament, which replaces the century plus old criminal justice system of our country, would bring about a significant change in the way our society is governed, the way people interact, with the way social interactions happen, and it will develop a huge amount of trust between the people and the institutions. A similar exercise today needs to be done about our entire commercial, economic, and financial structure. Lots of reforms have happened in the last 10 years, but many of the laws are still of a mindset of 1950s and 1960s, and many of them are of a significantly old vintage, where the mindset was of control, the mindset was not of facilitation, where the mindset was of stopping things from happening, not the mindset of getting things accelerated, getting things progressed, where the mindset was basically a mindset where the role, the relationship between the government, the institutions, and the people was a very different kind of mindset of superior and inferior. Today, there is a mindset of partnership, a mindset of doing things together. So that mindset needs to be reflected in our entire commercial, financial, and our structures which deal with the economy. I'll give an example of the telecom law. The law that we were having governing one of the most important and one of the most vibrant sectors was of the vintage of 1885. 1885, come on. So it was that old a law. So we started the consultation process, and the consultation process was basically, it was run for about 2 years. We had a very, very detailed consultation process where when we started the journey in January 22, we basically started with what should be the parameters to be put in that law. Then we came out with a concept paper. Then we came out with a draft law. Then we came out with the final law. The point I wanted to make is that we'll have to go through such detailed processes, we'll have to go through such detailed consultations, we'll have to put in that kind of effort to bring a new kind of reformed, a new set of legal structures which are right for this time. Because we are at a stage where growing beyond this will require a lot more fundamental and structural changes in the way our economy is structured. And here, the role of technology will become very important. As we saw in the inauguration ceremony, I'm very happy to see this, and thank you very much for having Mr. Banerjee, this kind of function where the lights were, where the lamp was lighted digitally. So in a sense, this Arbitration Bar of India is born digital. So this digital birth needs to be complemented further with a lot more digital technologies. I'll give one more example. the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, and of course the Telecom Bill, both of them, the Telecom Act, both of them have envisaged a digital way of functioning, a totally digital way of functioning, where practically the laws are, the entire way of administering the two laws will be born digital. There will be a proper digital framework, and the maximum interaction between the citizens and the institutions which will be governing these two, which will be implementing these two laws, will be digital through digital mode. I'll request that the ABI, since it is born digital, should also complement itself further with many more digital technologies. As you have all experienced the power of UPI, I'll take a couple of more minutes before I end. The, I would like to present this concept before this learned audience. The concept of UPI is very unique. What the government has done is it has created one platform. It has put public money to create one platform. That platform doesn't actually do the interface between the customers or the banks. The platform enables millions of other people, thousands of other institutions to use that platform and do something where people's problems can be solved, and the institution and banks can get a way to interact with the citizens in a very structured and a very reliable way. So on this platform joined about 500 banks, about 4 crore merchants, and about 45 crore users who are today doing digital transactions running in trillions annual. If you annualize the amount of transactions happening through the UPI, it amounts to about 2.1 trillion US dollars, which is huge, humongous amount. And in fact, in one of the, let me not share that, it might sound bit odd here. So people outside India really feel that, oh, this is really really advanced, this is so great. Why I shared this example is this particular structure reduce the transaction cost from, let's say in case of acquiring a new customer for insurance, from about 9 US dollars to something as low as zero point 0.3 US cents. That's like 98%, 97% reduction in cost. So can we think of a similar structure, UJI, Unified Judicial Interface, where we can look at creating one platform where the judges can join, the legal luminaries can join, the people who seek justice can join, and the people who can provide justice can join, have a born digital structure, a fully digital way of implementation, and come up with a solution which will be as unique as UPI, as unique as the zero that our forefathers invented, and as unique as our ancient culture, which is showing light to the world. Thank you very much and wish you all the very best in this new journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honor to invite our second chief guest for today, Dr. S. Jay Shankar, Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Government of India. As you all are aware, Dr. S. Shankar is an Indian diplomat serving as the Minister of External Affairs since the year 2019. He joined the Indian Foreign Services in 1977, and during his diplomatic career spanning over 38 years, he served in different capacities in India and abroad, including as a High Commissioner to Singapore, as an ambassador to the Czech Republic, China, and the United States. He has also served as the Foreign Secretary from January 2015 to 2018. Notably, in 2019, Sri Jaishankar was conferred with the Padma Shri in due recognition of his services. His illustrious career has endowed him with a key insight into geopolitical and commercial trends, and his presence here today is a mark of his commitment in furthering the legal landscape of the industry. I welcome you, sir. Please, everyone, join our hands together to welcome sir to the dais.
Namaskar and a very good evening to all of you. My cabinet colleague Ashwini Vaishnavji, Attorney General of India, Sri Venkatramani ji, Solicitor General of India, Sri Tushar Mehta ji, the President of the Arbitration Bar of India, Sri Gaurav Banerjee ji, Justice Hemant Gupta ji, luminaries of the legal world, excellencies, dear friends. I'm delighted to join you all this evening for the inauguration of the Arbitration Bar of India. Now, having listened very carefully to all my colleagues, speakers on the dais, what I believe we are hearing right now is the shrill cry of a digital birth which is midwifed by foot soldiers. And I cannot imagine that this product can have anything other than a great future. So let me say that this is a very significant step in the emergence of India as an arbitration venue. And I know that all of you appreciate its significance even more than I do. But let me, as a foreign minister today, really place it in a larger context. And a context I will borrow again from the Attorney General's metaphor or reference to a triangle, the Greek triangle he used. But the triangle here that I refer to is really one of law, business, and diplomacy. In the last few decades, the global order has witnessed a rebalancing that is shaping its new directions. And one facet of that is the democratization of institutions and activities. As economic capabilities have emerged, and in our particular case, actually re emerged, it is natural that many of its accompanying dimensions also spread out much more in the world. In that sense, the event for which we are all gathered here today is reflective of a larger redistribution of power, of influence, and of capabilities in the world. Obviously, this doesn't happen by itself, and it requires both the vision of a leadership as well as the commitment of stakeholders to make it happen. And that is actually what we are seeing today in the country. India, as we all know, is currently the fifth largest economy in terms of GDP, likely to be the third very soon. And it is only to be expected that a domain as crucial as arbitration to the international economy should also find adequate expression here. Not just that, like in other spheres, we need to develop high quality capabilities so that India too stands out in a competitive world. Now, insofar as the Modi government is concerned, I think from the initial years, I'm talking 2014-15, it has recognized the importance of arbitration in the country. And I think many of us remember the Prime Minister's speech at the National Initiative towards Strengthening Arbitration and Enforcement in India, where he actually spoke about quality arbitration mechanisms, which he saw as integral to ease of doing business in this country. And he actually underlined how strongly his government, our government, is committed to it. So the key words here are really quality arbitration, ease of doing business, and a commitment to make it happen. Now, the establishment of an arbitration bar aligns with this vision to position India as a premier destination for arbitration. Now, before such a distinguished legal audience, it is not necessary for me to dwell on the importance of arbitration, but we all do know it as an efficient and equitable method of resolving disputes and providing a streamlined alternative for what can often be very intricate judicial processes. So, whether it is in domestic or international arenas, arbitration certainly inspires confidence, it fosters economic growth, and it upholds the rule of law. At a time when, and in a world where time is actually of essence and certainty is of paramount importance, arbitration is recognized as a cornerstone of modern dispute resolution. Now, this is particularly relevant for us to recognize in India at a time when rapid economic growth is taking place in a globalized environment. If we are to get full mileage from our 3D dividend of democracy, demographics, and demand, then high quality arbitration is a notable factor in further attracting foreign direct investment. Already, to accelerate growth, the government has streamlined interstate commerce with the good and services tax. It has fostered a unified national market. Moreover, digitally enabled delivery, and Mr. Vaishnav also referred to it in different ways, is actually reforming the quality of governance. It is revolutionizing access to public goods. And we have seen a surge in the entrepreneurial spirit, which is aided by a startup culture and facilitated by the expansion of skills. Legal reforms, including the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code and amendments to financial laws, have also helped to ensure a stable and predictable and a more positive business environment. So, strengthening dispute resolution mechanisms such as commercial courts and alternative dispute resolution is a natural corollary of these developments. They further enhance investor confidence and lighten the judicial burden. I'd like to uh, share, in a sense, my own personal perspective on this matter. As some of you may have heard in the introduction, I was High Commissioner in Singapore a little more than 15 years ago. It was a time when we had actually concluded the comprehensive economic the SICA, the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. But it was also a time when actually Singapore had started pushing for it becoming a preferred seat of arbitration. And if one looks back at those 15 years, and I think it's to a lot of us very clear how much actually the two processes reinforced each other in getting so many Indian companies to either offshore in Singapore or to look at Singapore as a favorable destination to address their disputes and differences. Now, as foreign minister, let me also say that my ministry recognizes the obviously the importance of arbitration in facilitating international trade and investment. And by providing a stable and predictable dispute resolution mechanism, we see it as fostering confidence in foreign investors. We have actively supported initiatives to enhance the effectiveness of arbitration proceedings. And here we have collaborated with international bodies such as UNCITRAL, UNCCI, and the Permanent Court of Arbitration. Now, where Government of India is concerned, there have been, from the remarks which are referred to of the Prime Minister, going back to his first tenure, there have been reforms to bolster arbitration. These have included amendments to the Arbitration Act and the establishment of arbitration institutions, which have contributed to administering proceedings, providing institutional support, and the subject matter today, a panel of qualified arbitrators. The promotion of institutional arbitration has seen judiciary also encouraging parties to opt for institutional arbitration over ad hoc arbitration, emphasizing the benefits of institutional support and oversight in ensuring a fair and efficient resolution process. Now, while arbitration has deep roots in India, its contemporary practices, I think we all recognize, is still evolving. And I thought today there were two very important points which were made, one by the Solicitor General and the other by the Attorney General. The Attorney General actually spoke of the arbitration bar as reflective of a Make in India emphasis today. That we should not think of Make in India as simply a concept or a practice associated with the manufacturing world. I think it has dimensions in every aspect today of national growth and development. And what we have gathered here to do, I think in many ways, is about Make in India, where arbitration is concerned. So, arbitrate in India is actually a facet of Make in India. The important point which I think the Solicitor General made was it is not enough to be a venue. Our striving should be to become a preferred seat, and that obviously will take a lot of work. I referred to my own experiences out of Singapore, and again, I think what we have gathered here to do is an intrinsic step, a necessary step in that direction. So let me conclude by saying this, that India today is poised to make crucial decisions about its future. There is a foundation of a decade of transformation on which we are seeking to build a pathway for the next 25 years. Our goal is Viksit Bharat, that is developed India. This will not only have economic metrics, but an all round development that would include quality of life, ease of doing business, deep national strengths, technology capabilities, a larger role in the international economy, but not least the institutions, the infrastructure, and the talent that would actually define Viksit Bharat. It will certainly be a nation that will see more intensive and consequential economic activities, both at home and abroad. The requirement to harmonize, mediate, and settle differences and disputes will be even more as we progress on that journey towards Viksit Bharat. The legal world will make its expected contribution to the evolution of Viksit Bharat, and that I believe is what we are seeing today. The inauguration of the Arbitration Bar of India is a noteworthy step in that direction. And once again, I congratulate you all for joining me on this occasion and for witnessing this important step. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you to all our esteemed speakers for an incredible address. Your words have made this event a memorable success. To deliver the closing remarks and to conclude this momentous occasion, I would like to invite Mr. Tejas Karya, Partner and Head Arbitration at Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Vice President of the Arbitration Bar of India, to the dais. If I could ask everyone to welcome Mr. Karya to deliver the closing remarks, please.
Dr. S. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs of India, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav, Minister of Railways, Communications and Electronics and Information Technology, Mr. R. Venkatramani, Attorney General for India and Patron-in-Chief, Arbitration Bar of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India and Honorary President, Arbitration Bar of India, Mr. Gaurav Banerjee, Senior Advocate and President, Arbitration Bar of India, Justice Rishikesh Roy, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Justice Rajesh Bindal, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Justice Sachin Datta, Judge, High Court of Delhi, Justice Hemant Gupta, former Judge, Supreme Court of India, Chairperson, IIAC, and Honorary President, Arbitration Bar of India, Honorable former judges of the Supreme Court of India and various high courts, senior advocates, honorable ambassadors from various countries, members of the Bar, Arbitration Bar of India present in this August gathering. Good evening, everyone. Today is indeed a momentous day as we have finally launched the Arbitration Bar of India. It is significant because it is a milestone where in the arbitration landscape of India, because we are going to reshape and collaborate the entire arbitration bar as a one practice across India. Arbitration Bar of India will promote excellence, integrity, and innovation in the field of arbitration. We will achieve the best practices, embracing the highest standards and fostering the growth of dedicated arbitration bar. We are committed to the excellence in the field of arbitration and developing a community of professionals doing full-time arbitration who will elevate the standards of arbitration in India. With expansion of economic and commercial footprints of India, it is paramount to have efficient and effective dispute resolution mechanism. Arbitration Bar of India will play a pivotal role in ensuring India's growth as preferred seat for international arbitration. A robust arbitration ecosystem supported by Arbitration Bar of India will improve the ease of doing business in India and instill confidence in foreign investors who will be more comfortable in choosing India as seat of arbitration. Honorable Minister just mentioned that we should have make in India and arbitrate in India. So we should make a promote arbitration in make in India is a motto. We should have an arbitration bar who will support arbitrate in India as its motto. With the legislative reforms and support of the Indian government over a period of 10 years now, what we have seen is a sea change in the mindset of the arbitrators and the arbitration practitioners. What we have done is that we are now consolidating the entire bar of arbitration and coming as a dedicated bar who will then present the best practices across the world. Even Indian courts have adopted the pro-arbitration approach. The recent report of Mr. T.K. Vishwanathan committee has also suggested a lot of reforms, and that will improve the practice of arbitration in India. We at the members of the Arbitration Bar of India will pledge to develop a pool of dedicated arbitration practitioners and independent arbitrators to provide a credible and dependable practice of arbitration. We aim to become global thought leaders in the field of arbitration. This platform will provide a very broad spectrum of knowledge sharing, professional development, and collaboration amongst its members. This will also benefit individual practitioners and also enhance the overall quality of arbitration services offered in India. The ABI is truly diverse, and pan-India membership will also lead to consistency in the practice of arbitration throughout the country. Many may ask, what are the benefits of the Arbitration Bar of India? In the website launched today, we have provided all details about the membership and also tried to answer as many questions as possible by way of FAQs. We are open to ideas and welcome all the supports and suggestions to make ABI a great success. ABI will ensure an inclusive environment by creating welcoming and respectful space that celebrates the unique perspectives and experiences of all individuals and honors diversity and inclusiveness. We will also pledge for green arbitrations by promoting use of technology. Honorable Minister said that we should use technology in arbitration. Today we are already using it. You can see the live transcript of this particular event going on thanks to Terrace. And also we have been using live transcript now, virtual hearings. So this will lead to green arbitration and we will pledge to achieve that. We will also ensure that we rely more on institutional arbitrations. We have some of the best institutions of the world in India, and we should promote those institutions and use them instead of doing ad hoc arbitration. Our goal is to bring ICA Congress in 2030 to India, and we have to work together to make arbitration bar a great success. Now, I would like to thank Learned Attorney General for India for conceptualizing and spearheading the ABI and making his idea into reality. Thank you, Mr. Venkatramani, for making this happen today. We are also thankful for Dr. S. Jaishankar for sparing his valuable time and sharing his thoughts with us. May I request Learned Attorney General for India to felicitate Dr. S. Jaishankar. for his time and being with us today. We are very lucky to have Dr. S. Jaishankar. We are also honored to have Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav with us today. He has shared his views about how technology can change the way of doing business or way of doing arbitration. I would request Mr. Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General, to facilitate Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav. Thank you. Yes. We heard Mr. Banerjee in the beginning that Justice Hemant Gupta has been pillar for this initiative and he is keeping a low profile, but we would like to take this opportunity to request her to come on the dais for just 2 minutes for a small token of appreciation, sir, for just 2 minutes. I would request Mr. Banerjee to felicitate Mr. Justice Hemant Gupta. Justice Gupta has been guiding us and with a lot of perfection. Uh, Let us have a big round of applause for Justice Hemant Gupta. Thank you, sir. We are also grateful for our own beloved Tushar Bhai for always guiding us and constantly supporting us. And also, we are thankful to Mr. Gaurav Banerjee for accepting this daunting task of becoming first president of Arbitration Bar of India. Thank you. I would also like to thank the entire team of Arbitration Bar of India, my co-vice presidents, Ms. Madhvi Diwan and Mr. Vyapak Desai, our advisors, Mr. Aditya Sondi, Mr. Satish Parasharan, Mr. Darayas Kambata, and Mr. Samrat Sen. And you would see that we have ensured that it is pan-India, across India. We have involved the legal luminaries who are focusing on the arbitration practice. None other than our secretary, Mr. Shashank Garg, for being a great leader and a support of Arbitration Bar of India. Treasurer, Mr. Sonal Kumar Singh. Joint Secretary for East, Ms. Nandini Khaitan. For West, Mr. Naresh Thakkar. For North, Mr. Samir Jain. And for South, Mr. Vikas Mahendra. Executive members, Ms. Payal Chawla, Dr. Amit George, Ms. Mayuri Tiwari Agarwala, Ms. Anchal Basur, Mr. Divikan Lahoti, Mr. Raj Panchmatia, Mr. Mozam Khan, and Mr. Vinay Kumar Sanduja. I'm thankful to each of the members of ABI who have tirelessly planned and organized this launch event and also executed everything with immense passion. My heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors, KPMG, Ms. Gitu Singh is here, Osborne Partners, Ms. Montek Mayal, especially, Grant Thornton, Mr. Dipankar Sanwalka and Gagan Puri, and Secretariat, Mr. Mrinal Jain is here. And without their support, this event would not have been possible. And needless to say, each one of them are key stakeholders and in the realm of arbitration in the growth of India. We are also thankful for Teres for live streaming of this particular event and also live transcript, ITPO, Bharat Mandapam, and ITC for the event organization today. Lastly, but not least, we are thankful for each one of you for this overwhelming response from all of you and attending this historic event in person in such a large number. Unfortunately, due to space constraint, we could not accommodate everyone who had signed up for this event, but surely they are watching the live streaming of this event. We are really grateful for the support and confidence shown by everyone so much of enthusiasm. The presence of all of you today is an indication of success of arbitration bar already and has indeed strengthened our hope for the future of arbitration in India. We request each one of you to become member of Arbitration Bar of India. We have a QR code. Mr. Vaishnav mentioned that UPI has been a success, so we have a QR code outside, so you can scan it and become member. And also actively engage with the Arbitration Bar of India, contribute your insights, expertise, and passion toward advancing the practice of arbitration in India. Together, we can create a more robust and responsive arbitration ecosystem that meets the evolving needs of our dynamic economy. On this note, I thank each and everyone whom I could not name individually for their support and sincere efforts. I would like all of you to join us for high tea one level below of this auditorium. Thank you, all of you. Good evening.
The vote of thanks will be incomplete without the Attorney General making an appeal to the government to make available an arbitration Bharat Mandapam for us.
Thank you so much, everyone. The high tea is served at level 1. So, our members are here of the working committee. They're going to guide you downstairs to level 1. We invite you to please attend it. Thank you so much.
आप ले लो एक दो डिफरेंस एक 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 ही है एक ही है एक ही है और एक ही है